Go ahead.
Okay. Welcome everybody to the Village of Rhinebeck Planning Board meeting for May 18th, 2021. The first item on the agenda is the smoothie bar at 41 East Market Street, Suite 3. Do we have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll second that.
Who made it? It was sort of a tie between Jim and John. I'll go with Jim. So Jim made the motion and Mikey second to open.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do we want to have the applicant say a little bit about what the smoothie bar is, and then we can see if we have any members of the public who'd like to make a comment. So is Megan Martino there?
Yep, hi.
There you are.
How
So
are
why
you?
don't you have some pictures, Ryan, that you could show to the public if anyone's here?
Sure. Just yeah. Hold on.
And we got a better diagram.
A lot better than the first one.
A lot better. You found a ruler. I'm
Yes. Totally different than last time.
Why don't you give us a 2-minute synopsis of what you're going to be doing in here, and then I'll open it up to questions from the public.
Okay. So what we're gonna have here is like acai bowls, which are like healthy smoothie bowls with like fresh fruit. And we're gonna have like grab and go juices and grab and go salads. We're gonna do like avocado toast and like Nutella toast and like fun things like that. Coconut water with real coconuts. I want people to feel like they're away on vacation when, you know, they can't be away on vacation kind of feel. More tropical look on the inside, but the outside is, you know, you wouldn't know from the outside, you gotta walk inside. But it's really pretty, the idea, the concept with like all like, you know, palm trees. I got a little tiki bar to have for like the creamers and the stuff like that when you have to mix your drink and stuff, or, you know, super cute.
And there's no chairs.
No, not right now. But you said I could do something outside this year.
This year you can do something outside. If you can, you know, figure out where you can put it and
Yeah.
talk to the owners. All right, so do we have a sign too? We're going to do sign approval as well.
Mhm.
Yes. Ryan, do you have the sign?
I think he has a picture of it. Yeah. I think you guys looked at it last.
I do. I just have to stop my share and then share again.
Sorry.
So that's the sign that's going to hang outside of it.
Yep.
So do we have any members of the public who would like to make a comment? You know, raise your hand, or Ryan can turn on your microphone. Okay. No takers?
Not that I can see. No one's indicating that they want to comment. No.
I didn't think so, but we have to go by the rules, Megan, and, you know, have a public hearing. So do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion to close the public hearing.
Do we have a second? I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 So does any members of the planning board have any comments about the smoothie bar?
The only thing I would say is if you're going to have outdoor tables, you shouldn't block the sidewalk.
Yep. Yeah. There's like a little grass area right there. So I was thinking right there. Yep.
Okay.
It's a very narrow sidewalk in that parking lot, so.
I know. Trust me. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I could be able to fit like 2 or 3 two-top tables with like an umbrella or something, but nothing crazy, just so it looks pretty and goes.
The The village has suspended the zoning regulations again for this year, and you see they've closed one lane of route of Market Street,
Yeah.
put out tables and chairs to try to help the businesses get back some of the money they lost last year.
Yeah.
All right, so be that as it may, if there's no comments from the planning board or the public, do I have a motion to approve
The special
Yeah.
permit
the
first.
special use permit and the sign?
Oh, we're doing both at the same time. Okay.
You want two resolutions?
It's your discretion, Chair. If you want to do it all at once, we can do it all at
I
once.
think we can do it at once. The special use permit,
I'll make a
the
motion
restaurant
to do
retail
both.
and the sign. And John
Special permit sign application.
moves to approve it. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
I'm going to put in two conditions: that the sidewalk isn't blocked by any outdoor seating and that the sign is at least 7 feet above the sidewalk.
Okay. So a roll call vote, Michael Gee,
Aye.
Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
John Clark,
Aye.
James Davidson,
Aye.
David Miller, aye. Good luck.
Thank you.
Megan, when the sign is up,
Yep.
same deal. You need to send a picture to me
Okay.
and we'll have it on file for the smoothie bar.
Awesome.
Okay?
And want me to bring this paper over too? The one that I emailed you?
I emailed Becca. We can figure that out
Okay.
afterwards.
All right.
But
Perfect.
thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Hey, thank you. Bye.
Second on the agenda is Lydia and Michael Slavy, 25 Mulberry Street. 2 area variances, recommendations to the zoning board of appeals. Are we, where are we, Lydia?
So the Board of Health showed up on Friday. Perk tests went very smoothly. I'm grateful to report. But I'm not going to have anything from the Board of Health until June, probably. And I was hoping that my engineer would at least get you a sketch today, but that didn't happen either. So I think we can punt on me for the moment.
Okay, because you weren't sure what would happen to the garage with 25 feet from the pool instead of 15 feet from the pool.
Yeah, they're still trying to.
So,
Yeah,
trying to
they're
figure
still
that
trying to
out.
figure that out.
all right, we'll have to table it to the first Tuesday in June.
Right. Thank you both. Thank you. I mean, thank you all.
Okay. And we shall continue. Shay, Dean, and Mark Isolese, 46 Livingston Street. I probably butchered those names. Site plan exterior alteration, repair, and expansion of the landing to the deck. We had a site visit by the planning board, only speaking to the applicants, not to each other. And any comments from the board members about what we saw? Okay.
Sure. I would just say, first of all, to thank Shay and Mark for hosting us over there. And with all of the descriptions and the assistance of Michael Gee, who's an expert in construction and materials, I was quite pleased with the sensitivity of the proposal that they're proposing, and I think it will be a positive enhancement to the building. So I'm very happy that they're doing what they're doing. That's all I have to say, Chairman.
Someone with a microphone open has a television or something running in the background. I don't know who it is. I hear it, it's echoing back there. Yeah, and we discovered that it was Colton 50 years ago who put in the deck on the west side of the building. So it's not original to the house. The house originally just ended at the columns, and that porch is, relatively new in Rhinebeck standards. And so it's not, I don't think we felt that it was a major problem to make some alterations and move the staircase over. And the back one is really just a rear entrance to the building, hidden for the most part behind the fence. And I don't think we had any problem with that. There was nothing historic about what they want to do there. So I think the board was quite impressed with what they want to do, and I don't think anybody had any problems with it. So if there are no further questions, we have someone to make a motion to approve the site plan for the alteration to 46 Livingston Street.
I'll make that motion.
We have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, we need a roll call vote. Michael Gee,
Aye.
Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
John Clark. John,
Aye. Aye.
you want to add anything?
No, my screen froze up. I don't know why, but I'm saying aye.
James Davidson
Aye.
and David Miller, aye. Well, good luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
All
it.
right. Okay, hope
Thank
you
you.
can afford the lumber.
Yeah, right.
Somebody on CNBC said he walked through Home Depot and thought he was in Tiffany's.
Ah. Hi.
All right, good luck, guys.
Thank you
the
so
next-
much. Appreciate it.
So Shay, I will be in touch tomorrow. This is Ryan. I will be in touch
Hi.
tomorrow concerning the building permit and getting that process moving forward. And you should be able to start soon.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Appreciate it.
You're
everybody.
welcome, Shay.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, new business. Now we have Art Gallery 71 at 76 East Market Street. We approved them some months back for moving into the small store to the right side of the big store in the building right adjacent to the farmer's market. And I guess they're back tonight to move into the big store. Am I correct?
Yes, I'm Lisa Pinto. I'm representing Art Gallery 71 this evening. So,
Do you have a letter at that?
Yes,
Alex-
we do have a letter, David, from Young Management, who owns the building. And also we have an authorization letter from, I believe, Lisa, you're part of the gallery itself. You're part of the LLC. You're an artist within the gallery. So Alex did approve you to be present tonight to present.
right,
Correct?
yes.
Okay.
And I believe she forwarded to you the application and the position of the sign.
Yes, I'm just queuing all that up and I'll have that ready soon.
I have a photo on my phone of where the sign is going, and I have the dimensions of it. So if you need that from me, I could give that to you.
Let's see what we have right now. I'm pretty sure Alex provided the majority of photos of where it's gonna be proposed on the side of the building. Both the new sign and then the sign you guys already have.
Right.
There's an enormous amount of frontage for the building and a lot of signage available space, so that's not a problem. And you're going to move the existing sign that we already approved to the front of the building. You have to see that. We had where is it going to be? Because we had a problem with the previous owner that the sign was kind of low and made them put a planter under it so that somebody walking into the farmer's market wouldn't bop their head on the sign. So
There it is.
how high is that sign? Is that more than 7 feet off the ground?
Yes, it's all the way on the top of the building.
Okay,
So that's the sign in the front of the building.
right.
And then we have a sign that's going to go on the side of the building, to the west side, facing west. And it's going to go on the upper left-hand corner. There it is.
Right. So I don't think we've ever had a corner property with a sign, at least on my time on the board. But I guess you have the square footage, and I don't think there's anything in the code prohibiting this. Is there, John?
I don't believe so, no. I think,
No.
and in particular, this case, that store always suffers from the people exiting the parking lot and heading towards the center of the village and ignoring these commercial properties.
Right.
So I think it makes some sense.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's an odd location, but perfectly legal and probably necessary to point people in your direction.
Right.
Yeah.
And we would put it on the right side, closer to the entrance to this gallery, but the tree blocks it from certain views from the parking lot and from the street.
Right.
So that's why we placed it to the rear of the building.
There seemed to be another photograph that had the sign a little lower on the building in the same position, but down farther. I wasn't sure which. I don't know if it matters, but
Oh, the one I have is the same one that you're seeing.
Ryan, did we have?
It could be moved. That's just I think that's a photoshopped
Yeah, no,
image.
It looks like it. And
Well, it has to be between 7 and 10 feet. And obviously you want to clear the cars that'd be parking in the parking lot. So,
Okay.
you pro-
It might look a little better, even a little higher up.
well, it's got to be between 7 and
10 feet.
7 and 10 feet?
yeah,
Okay. From the bottom of the sign?
yeah, from the dirt up to the bottom of the sign. It's not like
Okay.
it's gonna hit your head on anything because it's on the building, not like the sign in the front. But those are the sign rules, and it's a
Okay.
unique kind of situation, and there's nothing in the law prohibiting that I could find prohibiting you from doing this.
Okay, good.
Actually, in the code, it says attached wall signs shall not exceed 12 feet in height from the grade. So, and there's no limit on how low it can go because it's not a projecting sign. So it just can't be higher than 12 feet.
Okay. I got it. I'll write that down.
You probably just want to clear the roofs of the cars. So it should at least be 5 or 6 or 7 feet off the ground so that it can be seen in there. You know, if somebody pulls in there with a Ford 150 truck or something, you'll still clear it.
Okay, I'm gonna make notes, what you're saying. So clear the roof of the cars and can't be higher than 12 feet.
But we don't want billboards,
No, it's 24 by 36 inches.
right? I mean, in terms of like having it way up on top of a building,
Oh,
you know, it should be.
okay, no, it won't be. It's gonna be in a good position where it's aesthetically pleasing to the eye.
Well, you're artists, so
That's right.
one would hope so.
Okay.
So does any members of the board have any comments about,
Can we see the application again? Because I was confused by the numbers.
Hold on, John.
Okay.
It's not. Why is it not coming up?
I think it said there were 13 and a half square feet left.
I was just wondering whether that was for the whole building, both storefronts, or just for this storefront.
Probably
I think it's for both.
for the whole building.
So the whole building has 20.75, and the available for this building is 13.5, correct? And the existing sign is 7.2, and the new sign is 6. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, that's clear then.
Right.
So this maxes you out, no window signs or anything else. Although,
Right.
you know, under the special rules of the COVID summer, you can have sidewalk signs where we didn't allow that before.
Are we allowed to have sandwich boards?
This summer you are.
Yeah, normally no, but they made it, you know, a compensation for the COVID, to give as much advertising for businesses as possible. So for this summer, as long as you don't block the sidewalk, you can have a sandwich board sign too. Although in the long run, the code prohibits them.
So So from Memorial Day to Labor Day, we're allowed to have one out there? When you say this summer?
It
Well,
may,
Lisa, you guys, I believe I saw Alex submitted a COVID-19 retail permits application. So I think you guys are okay for whatever additional signage you want for this outdoor retail. So I don't
Yeah,
know
well,
if you had that
okay.
discussion, but I think you would want to talk to her first before adding anything else.
Okay,
in order to make it clear that it's a temporary situation because of COVID, we're requesting COVID permits for any kind of special signage or chairs and tables outside to eat on or anything like that. Because next year, in the summer of 2021, we're probably not going to be allowed to close the streets, and we'll have to be, resume normal normal activities and put the laws back into effect. So you need to file the COVID permit. If Ryan saw it, you should check and make sure that it's been submitted.
so this is a COVID permit for a sandwich board? I just wanted to be clear so I could give
I
Alex
don't
the
know the
message.
details of it, Lisa. I know I saw Alex at the front door hand a permit application to the village clerk, Martina. So I'm
Okay.
fairly certain that Art Gallery 71 is within the outdoor retail for the COVID-19. I mean, this is sort of apples and oranges to what we're dealing with right now. This is not part of the planning board, so I think if we can get back
Oh.
on track to the signage, I
Okay,
think that would be best.
okay.
Okay, so does anybody have any problems with the moving the old sign and putting the new sign on the west side of the building? Everyone okay with that? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the sign application for 71 East Market Street?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote. Michael Gee,
Aye.
Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
John Clark,
Aye.
James Davidson,
Aye.
David Miller, aye.
Are there any conditions?
I don't think we need, I think that sign is high enough. We don't need to request a planter or something to be put under the sign on the street.
Okay,
It's higher than the other one was. Much
sure.
smaller than the other one.
Lisa, do you know, are you going to be using the bracket that it's on right now?
I'm not sure.
Because I believe it's on a black wrought iron bracket right now from
It's
the one.
possible, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And when you talk about a planter,
They had the previous occupant had a very large sign, and the sign was maybe 6 feet off the ground. So we were nervous that somebody coming out of the farmer's market taking a shortcut would walk into the sign. So we
okay.
made them put a planter on the sidewalk underneath the sign to protect the public from hitting their head on
I
the
see.
sign.
Okay,
If your sign on that bracket, and your sign is a smaller sign than the previous
Yes.
sign, it would then be above 7 feet. So you need to verify that, we'll take a picture of it and get it to Ryan when it's done. Or may have to have the building inspector come over and double check with a tape measure to make sure. Your sign is very low in this picture on the bracket, but it's not in the way. I mean, the stairs are there, no one's gonna walk under it.
right.
But out front, you could walk under it, and if it doesn't clear 7 feet, then you've got to put a planter or a bench, or, well, not a bench, somebody could stand up from the bench, but some planter or something, which is what we had the previous tenant do, to make sure nobody would hit their head on the sign.
Technically, it's got to be 7 feet off the ground, and the other one's got to be under 12 feet. And as long as you comply with that, you're okay.
Okay, I'm making notes.
So you send pictures to Ryan and send him the measurements as to where they are. In the
And it's
front
not
and
like
the
you're
back.
very far away from Village Hall either, so.
Right. Ryan will look out the window with his binoculars and his special sniper scope that can take a distance from the sidewalk and give us an accurate reading.
Okay.
All right.
All right, I'll tell Alex to do all this, to get the
Okay.
picture of it and the measurements.
Good, well, good luck. And obviously you're doing well and you wanted a bigger spot. So
Yes.
we're glad for you. It's been a tough year for businesses.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. The last item on the agenda is Monica Sequoia Nero, 55 South Street, an amendment to the planning board decision of March 16th. Okay, turn on your microphone.
There we go.
There you go. Okay. So,
I'm wondering if everyone on the board has gotten a chance to read what I sent in with Ryan and to see the pictures.
like you sent all that and dozens of pictures. And I guess, what are you proposing?
It's all spelled out in there, sir. I mean, one of the challenges last time was that really the proposal wasn't gone through. So it's all spelled out in there very clearly what it was and what she's proposing as an alternative. Probably best to make sure that that's read in so that everybody has that in record.
Yeah, that would be helpful. Thank you. Could someone read that in?
Relatively short note, sir.
I don't know if I have that. I had a copy of it. Brian, do you have a copy? Can you bring that up on the screen?
Yes,
I
just
had a copy of it. Is it the price from the contractor? Or the
No.
note?
No, that was just
The
one
note.
piece of it. I wrote the whole situation about what, how it came to pass and what I've done to remedy it. In a nutshell, I spoke with, when we had spoken before, Michael Gee had proposed a trim to make it look like a 2-gang window. And I've since spoken with Ken McLaughlin, who came to the house and recommended very, very specifically how he would have us do it. And we did exactly what he proposed. And so we have it already trimmed out and would like to know whether this satisfies the board in terms of how it looks.
Brian, do you have the current picture of the newly renovated
Yes.
window?
Ryan, can you open that up? It's at the end of the letter. The last group of photos, I believe. Is it the last group of photos? Ryan, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Sequoia. It's just
Okay.
difficult to go back and forth from the JPEG files and share
I
them
got it.
on.
I got it. Take your
You
time.
sent
No pressure.
a lot of material.
Yeah, and
So what you're saying is the building inspector suggested you do this and you did it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, some of the things I know that were focused on the last time you guys met related to things, and I know part of it was just a misunderstanding on Monica's part with regards, but I'm her partner, I'm boyfriend, I've been the guy helping her sort of execute on some of these things. But part of the challenge has been that you guys, there was a lot of talk about, obviously the window isn't supposed to be under the whole historical district overlay wider than it is tall, and that was not something that she was aware of. But then there was also a comment about raising the window height. And one of the challenges, I think this is something that one of their folks mentioned, because of how this house has been so completely redone since the 1960s. I mean, her insurance company considers this house to be from the 60s, not from prior, because of how substantial it was. But there is literally no alignment in the house between the window levels. So the windows on the left side are different from the door, which is different from the right door, which is different from the right central window, which is different from the windows all the way to the right, different windows in the upper right. And so there was not really a possibility of raising the window height there without structurally modifying it, because there was a header that was above the existing window. And so that's why there was no change made to the window height. It A, isn't historic to how the house was built, but B, would require what would seem like a major structural modification to having to take out a structural member to put in a higher window than was originally there. This
is what it looks like now.
This is what it looks like now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The piece down the center to look like two windows.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just let me,
Yeah.
if I can just respond to the gentleman's comment.
Mhm.
Somebody must have had to take out that header in order to put this larger window in. One
No.
of the, no, let me speak.
Mhm.
There are two violations here. One of the violations, as Ryan pointed out in the last meeting, was that this renovation was conducted without a building permit. A separate violation has to do with complying with the historic district code.
Sure.
Now, we have a situation here where if you look at the original window, there may have been a single header above that original window. But somebody came in and must have cut away 5 or 6 vertical supporting members out of that wall to put a window this large in.
Yeah, that's actually not accurate, sir. And I apologize that we didn't get the building permit just because we didn't realize it met that substantial modification requirement, and that's our mistake for not doing that and not consulting with you first. The window that was there, there was a header across the top that was structural. Then there were 2 vertical 4x4 nominal beams that had been cut in half by the person who put the window in I guess, the 60s. Actually, one had been chiseled so that there was about a quarter of or half an inch of the 4x4 left. So the window slid into that. And the other one had been cut in half and then jigged over just wide enough to accommodate the window. And it had been laid on top, so it had about 3/4 of an inch of actual support on it. There was nothing more than that holding it in place.
Yeah, it was
So
stacked.
Are you saying that above this new window that you put in, there's a portion of an original narrow header, and there's a second newer header that makes
it
up
was
the difference?
reinforced above it, yes, sir. Because the concern was about this overall structural structure that was there.
Okay, but here's the point that I want to make. Somehow or other, so now clearly a reputable and experienced contractor would never have done this. It would never have agreed to do this work without a building permit. So we have somebody that came in here and did something to the support of those walls. There must have been, I think what you're pointing at is there must have been multiple additional, whether they're 4x4s or 2x4s, vertical support members in there. Some of them had to be removed to accommodate a new window as wide as the one that's here now is. Now that means that supporting members in a load-bearing wall were removed.
Well,
Now,
I hear that they should have been there.
Excuse me, please.
Mhm.
Please let me finish.
Sure.
If somebody put in a new header, this is also, it was obviously not what I would call a reputable and experienced contractor, or there would have been a permit. If somebody put new supporting members in there, we have no idea if those new supporting members are structurally sound, if they're made from the proper material, if they're the proper dimensions, if they're supported on the left and the right side properly, as an inspector would expect, because it wasn't inspected. No one knows what's holding up that load-bearing wall right now.
Okay, so may I say something?
Please do.
So this is a separate issue than the historic issues, is correct?
Yes, it is.
So if I were able to speak to the building inspector, Brian Connolly, and show him the support structure of this window and it were cleared by him, would that take care of the building permit issue?
Ryan can answer that. If the building inspector came in and saw the construction of all the framing and supports that were done around the header and it complied with the architectural requirements, then I believe that would be okay. Is that correct,
Okay.
Ryan?
I can provide Brian Connolly with that.
I'm asking Ryan to confirm the question.
Brian suggested you do this, and that's what you did, and now it appears to be 2 windows.
Yes.
It was actually Ken who suggested that we do it.
And who?
And
Ken McLaughlin, the acting zoning enforcer.
Okay.
Why would the zoning enforcer suggest alterations to a window we're discussing on the planning board?
Because he was the person I was referred to talk to about it.
So, sorry, I'm just going to jump in real quick. Ken is in charge of the building planning and zoning office right now. He oversees the acting zoning enforcement officer and the building inspector. Ken is a building inspector.
Yeah,
So-
well, I don't understand why Ken would be making determinations on planning board issues.
He wasn't making a determination, sir. He was trying to find a reasonable accommodation. You know, the one thing that, you know, Monica has is a single mom, and she's not one of the wealthier members of the community. That, and, you know, the suggestion that was made at a $4,000+ cost would be a substantially difficult thing for, not to mention the long lead time for windows right now. You know, you're joking about Tiffany's and lumber. That's funny when you've got enough money to afford it. It's not funny when you're a single mom struggling to get by. And so, you know, she's trying to find a reasonable accommodation that satisfies the standards that the town wants to maintain. She's invested a lot of money in this house over the years and improved it substantially over the state when she got it. She's by no means a scofflaw or a detriment to the community. So she's trying to find a reasonable accommodation.
We're not accusing her of that. I'm trying to get this interpretation now. If this gentleman is the acting zoning enforcement officer, he would usually be at one of our planning board meetings and we could bat this around.
Sure.
But when Mr. Fenton was the zoning enforcement officer, he could go out and make a ruling. We would ask him to rule on something. It would usually be before the planning board, but we don't have anybody coming at the planning board now because we're in some kind of stuff going on. So
Sure.
I'm not sure if we need to defer that the zoning enforcement officer, the man in charge, said that this is the way to do it to make it look like it's a double window. And are we bound by the zoning enforcement officer's decision?
Can I make a summary statement here? You know, there was the original problem that they did this without a permit and without going to this board for a historic certificate of appropriateness. That's the first problem. The second problem was they shouldn't have made the change based on the opinion of the zoning enforcement officer. It's this board's opinion that counts in terms of a historic building. However, that being said, so you sort of compounded the problem by going ahead and doing work without the approval again.
This was meant as a gesture of good
Just
faith.
let me finish, because I'm going to get to a place that maybe you'll like. All that being said, you've sort of compounded the problem twice here by not coming and get your permit, your approval from us, this planning board, before you did the second part of the work. However, all that being said, I think what happened here in the end is fine. It meets what I think is the spirit of the code. I think it is an improvement on what was there before. It is meets the standards in terms of proportion. It looks as good as any window in that house, has decent trim about it. And you know, this isn't the Beekman Arms. This is a house that's been botched and it's been roughly restored, much better than it was before. So I personally am satisfied that we could give them approval after the fact and get done with this.
I was going to say the same thing. John beat me to it. Does any other board member?
I agree too.
Al, just a
That's
question.
wonderful.
Al,
Thank
just
you,
getting-
guys.
Thank
Wow.
you. I haven't been sleeping for 2 months, so.
But I
how do you
do have a
feel,
question, Mr. Getting back to the structural integrity of this load-bearing wall.
Yeah.
Are we, I just need you to clarify, are we confident that the building inspector actually saw this and is approving it after, of course, they submit the building permit?
And I'm happy to speak to Brian and show him all of the pictures and documentation that I
You
have.
had some, last time you had some exposed pictures of the inside, showing the headers that were there with the new window. So I think what we'd like to do, and you could, they could get back to Ryan just to verify it, that he sees what it looked like. I don't know if it's been covered up by now.
Yeah, it's all sheetrock and
Show him
finished and trim.
the exposed picture you showed last time you were here.
Yes, sir.
You can see the headers.
Yeah.
I don't have it with me, but
Yeah.
and he's okay with that. and lets Ryan know that he was okay with that. He can inform, Ryan can.
Yeah, and
inform
I'm
him.
happy to show that to Brian or to
Yeah.
Ken, either building inspector.
I know that we're coming at this in a roundabout way, but the structure that was created to fit with what was in there is way better than what was there. We were shocked to see what had been there. You know, like that was not what one would expect. So it was made better. We'll make sure that we get the pictures to the building instructor so that he can see that those improvements were there. And Jeff, that satisfies your concern with regards to the structural integrity of that wall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's my only question.
Sure.
Yep,
Yes, sir.
absolutely.
And
James, do you-
we rely on the building inspector to
Yes.
do that for us.
Mm-hmm, understood.
James, do you have any comments?
No, I agree with John. I'm satisfied. I do think it was a little backwards to, after doing one set of renovations without checking, to have yet another set sort of unilaterally done.
We have to communicate. I agree with James. We have to communicate with the new guy in charge that it's great if he goes out there and looks at it, but he needs to submit the recommendation to us, not to the owner. And since he did this and they did what he said to do, I don't think we have much of a choice here. But we need to communicate with him that we'd like him to write something to the planning board. I went out, I looked at it. Here's a sketch of what I suggested, that if we put a mullion down the center, it's going to look like two windows. And is that okay with the board? And that's the way it should have gone. It didn't happen that way, but we're still, you know, finding our way under a new process here.
When I had spoken to Lydia about it, she said that Ken usually would send a memo to the board, and I guess he just hadn't. But Lydia, are you still on? Is she still there? I don't know.
Yep, I'm still here. Sorry, I was on mute.
No, you had said that Ken usually sends a memo to the board. Did he just not send one this time?
Apparently not.
Apparently not. So, I mean, I'm sure if we were.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to him about it. I'm happy to, you know,
Okay.
David and I can talk to him about it.
Yeah, we'll work out the bugs in this, that he's here in support of the planning board. We ask opinions of the zoning enforcement officer to make comments on the legality of things. He gets back to us, and then we have the planning board meeting, and the planning board votes on this. But it happened, and it looks actually the best it's going to look. And I think it solves the
So now that you've brought up voting, Mr. Chairman, can we have a motion to amend and move this to where we all want to get to?
Yes, that was my next question. Do we have a motion to approve the amended site plan for 55 South Street?
Do we have?
I'll make that.
Do we have a second?
Just a question. Do we have a site plan, an amended site plan with a drawing? Just for the record, I'm not objecting to the motion. I'm just
Jeff,
saying.
we have a site plan application and we have the photos.
Yeah, but
and
typically don't we ask for dimensions just for the record so that, 20, 30 years from now, somebody can't come back and say, hey, that's a problem, because we're going to approve this.
You guys can make that a condition that they need to submit the dimensions of the existing window.
I'd like to see the dimensions, and then I'd be fine with it.
Approval.
Okay, and so would you want the dimensions of the trim of the window or the actual window?
I think
we're splitting hairs, but
yeah.
Okay.
I think the dimensions of the
fine.
window as it appears on the
The whole,
outside.
Okay,
the whole
got
thing.
it.
Got it. Yep.
Got it.
Thank you.
So many specifics.
Did we get a second?
I'll second.
Any other comments or any other conditions other than we'd like to see even the photograph with, numbers on it with the dimensions given back to Ryan.
Sure.
So we know what the finished product looks like. All right, we're ready for a roll call vote. Michael Gee,
Aye.
Jeff Christensen,
Aye.
John Clark,
Aye.
James Davidson,
Aye.
David Miller, aye. All right. Good luck, and I'm glad we were able to come to a satisfactory.
So Sequoia, I will email you tonight the building permit application that we need to get completed, filed, and done, and the permit fee, submitted, and then we will get Brian Conley out there to do an inspection.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, board.
Thank you. Good night.
Unlimited Tomorrow has canceled. They're not ready yet. I think when they do come back, we're probably going to want to do a site visit to see what's actually going on over there, to understand what they're about. So the next one is we have a troublemaker coming back here, Mr. Kellogg. Yes, sir, there he is. Improvements, upgrades, and whatever. Okay. What are you up to?
Well, it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
Good to see you.
Well, everything's going very well here. We've been very fortunate, open with rooms since last May, and open with the restaurant and the spa since July. And since Labor Day, we've been sold out, almost every single weekend.
Oh, that's good.
Spa business is in great shape. The Willow is doing fine. We've got, a beautiful deck with about 25 seats outside. So, we've had all of our social distancing, and everything changes tomorrow, but limited seating, wellness checks. So we've pretty much followed, all of the mandates, to the letter of the law, but and I think that's part of our success. What's happened is we have a high demand for king rooms. So we have double queens and we have kings here. So there's a high demand for larger king rooms and a high demand for some additional treatment rooms. So what we would like to do is to add 4 king rooms at the end of the building, connected to the interior corridor. I have Rod Morrison, our civil engineer from LRC, on with me, and Andrea Brew, who is the architect with Arrow Street. So we'll cover everything. So what we'd like to do is expand out to the far west of the building, and I'll walk you through the site plan. And I think, Ryan, how am I sharing here? Just share screen?
Yes, just share your screen, Ed.
Okay. So can everybody see this?
Yep.
Okay, great. So, and can you see my cursor floating around?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I think you're all familiar with the site plan. And what we would like to do is to add rooms out here at the west end, which is the shaded area. We have an interior corridor, so we're actually going to wrap around this stair tower, which is a Portland Place, it's a cast in place concrete stair tower. We're going to wrap around that and create 2 king suites on each level, but only the second and third levels. And once I get to some sight lines, you'll see, so the building's actually going to be on stilts. We have a water line, we have underground storm chambers, we have storm lines, manholes. There's a lot that's out there on the site. So it's only on the second and third floors. On the first floor will be the 3 additional treatment rooms, which are fed off of an internal corridor right here. So all we're going to do is add this 550 square foot expansion. The room expansion is about 3,500 square feet. So this is 4,000 square feet. The building's roughly 82,000 square feet, including the level I'm sitting in, the service level, and the parking deck. So that's going to be 1 story, and the room expansion is 2 stories. Right now we have 91 parking spaces inside and outside. We submitted the parking study, and I think the number we had was 73. So we're far in excess of what was required. This will obviously create a need for 6 additional parking spaces. So that's something we'll have to review with the board. I wanted to the purpose of this discussion is I wanted to introduce the plan to you, and also discuss the setback. So on the west end of the building, the code calls for a 25-foot setback because we're adjacent to a residential zone. This plan assumes that there is a 10-foot setback. So that's really the purpose of this discussion, is find out what you think of the plan and what you think of variance. Because I know at some point you'll have to give a recommendation to the zoning board.
John Clark, what is I thought we did away with 25 feet and we went to 10. Am I missing something?
It's 10 feet on the east side, Dave.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure we did away with the 25-foot rear yard setbacks and made it 10. So are we talking about that this is the rear of the building?
Well, this is, it's the rear part of the building. It's the side part of the building. If it's a 10-foot rear yard setback and this is considered rear yard, then fantastic. Yeah.
John, what do you think? You have to turn on your mic. I can't.
Is running very slow for some reason tonight. So I tried to hit the mute button and it's just not moving. This is in the village center, right?
Right.
District. So the minimum front yard setback is 0, side yard is 0, maximum 25, minimum rear yard is 10. And is there some provision in here about, you said, trying to recreate the thinking?
Yeah, it's right below that bulk table, John. If you're adjacent to a different zone for a side yard.
Where the two properties are separated by a district boundary, the larger of the two required setbacks applies to the adjoining yards of both properties. So what you're saying is it's next to the residential district. And so there the side yard is 10.
If it's 10, great.
Yeah, I think.
Then we can all hang up.
I think you should confirm that with the the zoning enforcement officer, because I'm just looking at it cold here. I haven't but that's what I see is as long as it's 10 feet, it looks like it's okay to me, but I might be
10 feet. Yeah, and that's what this plan represents, is 10 feet.
Right.
The other thing I was pointing out is along the back, we have the 30-foot, the 30-foot water line easement. So we're not anywhere near that either.
Right. Ryan will refer this to the zoning enforcement officer to get a ruling. I think it's okay. John thinks it's okay, but let's get a ruling from our zoning enforcement officer. At 10 feet is the new, we had this 25-foot, and when Tim Decker and Brandt and John worked on redoing the code several years ago, they decided that 25 feet is kind of excessive. 10 feet is enough on all sides. So I think you're okay, but let's get a ruling. We'll get a ruling from Ryan. Will speak to zoning enforcement or get a written ruling to the planning board about this. But
wasn't there some sort of requirement about fire access around the back of that building?
Yeah, that was part of our code review, John, and because we're fully sprinklered, then that wasn't necessary.
Okay, so that's not a problem.
Right, that's not a problem.
And behind that, on the other side of that property line, is that the rear property that's under conservation protection anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is the Parisi conservation parcel, and Winnicke Land Trust holds the easement on it. And the only thing you can do on this property is to build an owner-occupied residence, but that has to be up near the street, kind of in line with the Parisi mansion.
Yeah.
So nothing happens back here.
Right.
We'd like to have some walking trails at some point and connect to the Mazzarella Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, that'd be nice.
Yeah, because we have guests that kind of walk around this walkway and then they hit a dead end and turn around. But some keep on walking. You know, we don't tell them they can. But
Is there any activity in the Parisi house?
actually, there was a wedding party there this weekend. I think it's Dr. Parisi's niece, but Dr. Patel has life use of the house, so she can use it as long as she wants to. And then ultimately, and she's a trustee, it's left to his niece and nephew. But Dr. Patel, I have a good relationship with her. She's here like once a month.
Okay, so it does have activity now.
Yeah, there's some
I've
activity.
never
They mow the
seen
lawn, and we actually use the backyard for aerobics classes.
So the two things you would have to check with the village officials on, I can't keep track of them anymore, is the setback and whether it's permissible to build over that sewer line and all the utilities and everything.
Yeah, that's
So
how
that
we
they could
did it
have
on.
access in between the stilts, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll have. If you're interested, I'd like to show you the rest of the plan.
Okay.
Can I see it? Okay. So the construction, it's pretty simple. Access is through our site, and so now I'll show you some view sheds. So there's a few different view sheds. So this view number C is if you're standing in the backyard of the Parisi house, right here, you can see that V. That's what you would see, and the expansion is way over on the right-hand side. So it's identical to the existing towers that we have. So here's an existing tower. So it's identical to the existing towers with the mansard roof. And you can kind of see a stilt right there, but I'll show you some more. This is the spa expansion. It's actually a flat roof. It only extends out about 12 feet from the existing building. And then, so this is the view. View B is from the hotel entry. You can't see anything because our existing building blocks it. And view A is if you're on a certain angle, then you can kind of see that one tower right there. And that would be this view line right here. The building architecturally, you can see a little bit way back there. You can see, some of it here. So that's kind of expanded views. This is a little bit more straight on. This is if you were standing in the Parisi gazebo. So here's our existing, we call it the spa wing where the treatment rooms are. This is the spa expansion. And then this is the two-story expansion. And then, so this is a perspective of what this would look like. So this is the spa expansion on the left. These are the stilts. There's an emergency door out of the existing stair tower. The stilts you can get through. I think it's over 12 feet of clearance. So if I had to get equipment in there, I could. And then this is the second floor and the third floor rooms. And if you're in the aqua terrace looking to the west, then you would see this tower right here as well. And all of the building heights, we're staying right in line with what we have now. You can see on the left-hand side is the existing building. On the right-hand side is the expansion area. This area right here, we're actually going to have a couple of nice balconies that sit out and face the woods. That's the expansion. There's some photographs, I think, which are really helpful to see. I don't know, how many people have been here to see everything, but can you see this? This is a photograph.
I don't think so, Ed. You might have to stop your share and then reshare your screen.
Okay. Stop the share and then share again?
Yes.
Okay, here. Is that it? Yeah. Well, you can see this lawn area right now, what you're saying? You seeing me scroll up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is if you're in the parking lot by the handicap parking spots, you're looking back. This is the cottage building. The fitness and aerobics are in this building, and there's suites up above. This is the pool mechanical room. So to your right, if you go up this little slope, you're up in the Parisi residence. This is just another closer view. This is further out from almost like John Marvin's parking. You're almost out to the street. This is looking at the east lawn of the Parisi residence. So our building is way in the distance here. That's their gazebo. This is on the west lawn of Parisi, and our building is way back in here. This expansion will be tucked in over here, so you can't see it from the street. This is standing by the trail where you walk up the sidewalk, and that's the first trail down into the park. Then you're at the Mazzarella sign, and we're way in the distance there. This is standing at the driveway cut for Star Library, and you can kind of see the roof line back there. This is by the community garden, and then there's a bench by the community garden. So this is the closest spot. You really can't see the building. And now this is what if you were standing on the patio of the Parisi residence, which is basically at the basement level, you can see our existing building. So that's, I took these last week. I want to share some other photographs with you, another set quickly. So I got to stop and then start again.
You kept your promise. You said it would hardly be visible from almost everywhere in the village, and that's absolutely true. And it's really invisible to the village that it's back there. It's nice.
Yeah, it's tucked way back. So this is as you walk around the spa expansion, and we have a storage shed back here. So it's all of this area right here. So that is the floor line of the second floor, and this is the floor line of the third floor. So we would be tearing off part of that. This is you're walking around. So the 10 feet, we'd lose a few trees, but these trees are actually in the conservation parcel, so we don't even touch those. The property line is like right next to the trees. So you're walking around, and now like this is a water line. That's not the easement, but it's a manhole for the storm line. You can see our deck back here. Yeah, and this is from looking south to north, so the woods are behind me. That's all the federal wetland and the conservation parcel that wraps around us. So this is like where the expansion area would be. And then some more of it.
I think it's great if you can get together with Sally and figure out a way to get into her trail. She would probably love that.
Yeah, it's more the Winnicke Land Trust, Dave.
Right.
That controls that. Sally's a member. I've had some conversations with the people who manage their trails. But it's really Dr. Patel has to give permission, if they want a trail there.
Okay.
So, it would just be like bark chip, something passive, not like not a paved trail or anything. You could clear the trees and chop them right there and just, leave them in place. So that's it. No utility issues. We're tying into all the building services. It doesn't affect emergency exiting. It's, obviously, Andrea, our architect, everything will be designed, soup to nuts. The timing is, this isn't, we're so busy right now that our thought was to start construction fall of 22 and open this in spring of 23. So we're just going to take our time on it. There's no pressure to do it right now.
And we have to talk about, water and sewer and getting the additional capacity, if that's all okay with
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
department.
the sewer, we're on a force main up to the street.
Right.
And water, we're tied into that 16-inch village line. So there's, in terms of water volume and pressure, we're in good shape.
So you're gonna have to check with the CEO or the ZEO over the setbacks to confirm that.
Yep.
And whether the utilities can run under a building if that's not, in terms of access for whatever utilities are required underneath there already existing. You also should check about the encroachments for the balconies. There's
Yeah,
a section on encroachments. You can encroach up to 3 feet under certain circumstances and 7 under others. So check with the CEO about the encroachments on the balconies as well.
Well, that's actually outside of the 10-foot setback already.
Oh, it is? Okay,
Yeah.
I figured that was an encroachment. Okay.
No, that's outside.
All right. And then the only thing that it seems to me we have to deal with is the parking.
Right.
Make sure that your existing parking covers the requirements.
I think he had excess parking in the original plans. We'll have to go back over that and check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 90-something spots was beyond what he needed and was going to donate those spots to the village, as extra capacity.
Yeah.
So
No,
he
I'm going
has
to give him the
capacity.
Beekman Arms.
Yeah, right. But build that bridge.
Yeah.
The bridge to nowhere.
Yeah. So the parking, and actually, John, I don't know. We always, you look outside, the parking lot might be full outside, and the garage is empty.
Is that right? So after so many months of operation whether you have a parking issue.
Oh yeah.
You're
yeah.
saying you don't. You always have capacity.
Yeah, and even our employees. I mean, there's a lot of employees here, but it's all these rotating shifts, and they're parking over at the pool parking lot. Some people might be an instructor. They're here for a 1-hour class, and they might park on the street. We have to chase people out sometimes because Mike knows. And they go a little bit longer than 2 hours, but we know who they are. So parking has been fine.
Well, I'm glad you have great success and you survived the plague. And
So I'm going to jump in here. This is Ryan. I know you said, Ed, that this is sort of far out there as within your timeline. Maybe John Clark or the chair can answer. So what would this actually be considered? Would this be considered an amendment to the approved site plan, or is this site plan?
it'd be an amendment to the site plan.
Okay, and that's what was approved in 2016?
Yeah. Whenever they're ready to, come forward.
I just have to know because I'm going to be the one who's organizing all of the paperwork for you guys to get it to you guys in order for them to present.
It'll be an amendment to the site plan whenever they're ready to come. Does any one of the board members have any questions about this? Okay, I'll take that as a no. So I guess whenever you're ready, contact Ryan and start the paperwork, and we'll get those. Ryan will get those questions answered by the zoning enforcement officer. Get back to you and back to the board with his determination, which I think John and I are right that it's 10 feet and you're okay. You don't need a variance, but let's just get the zoning enforcement officer. He might even want to come out there and walk around with you if he hasn't seen it before.
Yeah, I don't think he has.
Yeah.
Probably not, Ed. Ed, we should chat tomorrow.
Okay.
Follow up with me tomorrow, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks for your time, everyone. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you. Haven't seen it since the party.
Okay. There'll be another party for the expansion. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Okay.
And we can come without masks by then.
Yeah.
2023, I hope.
Okay,
All right.
thanks very much.
Take
All
it
right,
easy.
Ed. Good night.
All right. Bye-bye.
So we have minutes. I'd like to make 3 quick announcements. I don't think we need to have a discussion on it. The first thing is that the Brogan Center, there's been a lot of questions about it the past week or so. There's going to be the new owner is going to have some public meetings with the public and try to inform them what he wants to do. But as I said, for the past 6 months, when it sells and there's a new owner and the owner contacts Ryan and he wants to get on the agenda, we'll be happy to hear what they have to say. So we don't need to talk about it or debate it at the planning board meeting.
Yeah, I don't think, Mr. Chairman, I don't think we need to debate it, but there's a little bit more involved in it than that, because an issue has arisen in the last week, and I think we do need to at least, you know, make sure everyone's aware of that. Just to provide some context around that, you may be aware, or maybe not, that many of our residents received a village government email that was sent out on May 14th and also posted as an official village announcement on the village website. And in these announcements, the village government was actually representing a private real estate developer to promote his interest in fashioning a proposal and gaining community support prior to coming to the planning board for consideration. Our residents probably already know, I hope they already know, that the village planning board has developers present their proposals to the community in open public planning board meetings and always solicits community input in these open meetings as the law requires. But this email that was sent out by the village government was entitled Community Input Meetings. Community Input Meetings. And it had the official seal of the Village of Rhinebeck at the top of the email. And the official announcement that many people saw in the village website was also entitled Community Input Meetings. In addition, some of the people perhaps that have joined the meeting tonight looked at the official website and may have noticed, if you go to the page on the planning board that contains just the agenda for tonight's meeting, there's a link on the agenda in bold type that says Community Input Meetings, which brings you again to the village announcement on behalf of the private developer. So what happened was, speaking purely for myself as a planning board member, I objected to this. You know, I found it to be confusing and frankly inappropriate for the village government to be acting as an agent for a private interest whose application may soon come before the planning board. I think it will, because they've already applied for a demolition permit. Let me be clear. I don't for a minute object to a private real estate investor's right to campaign for support for their development projects before they appear in an officially conducted planning board public meeting. That's their right. And a simple and acceptable and obvious common practice would have been for them to invite people to their private meeting by sending out a postal mailer on their dime to every house in the village. I get these things in my mailbox every day. But despite the fact that this announcement was distributed by the village government and entitled Community Input Meetings, people need to understand that it has nothing to do with the village government's process. I know it's confusing to many of our residents. I think it was unfortunate, but the good news is that Mayor Bassett and Trustee Slavey have offered to meet with 1 or 2 of our members of our planning board to update us on all the things that have been gone on with in the village hall, you know, related to this developer's proposal, and we can discuss actions we believe are appropriate to ensure transparency and impartiality on these activities. So for those residents that are listening in, you may be confused, but stay tuned. When the developer's proposal, I want to make this clear, when the developer's proposal comes before the planning board, there will be public planning board meetings to allow that developer to present his proposal, and the planning board will solicit community input related to that proposal, listen to the community's views, and incorporate that in our decisions. So I hope this kind of clarifies an issue that's been going on lately, and I'd like to hear the views of some of the other planning board members on this.
Well, I'm going to just jump in here as the clerk. I apologize to cut any of the other planning board members off, but as the representative of this office, I'd like to be as transparent as possible. and hopefully not add to the confusion. You had stated, Jeff, that there is a demo permit filed. In fact, there is no demo permit filed.
Okay, that came from someone else?
That came from Father Crawford.
Okay,
Before the new owners were in legal ownership
Okay.
of the property and building. So I just want to be clear and transparent to all those
Yeah.
who are listening and who will watch this later on when it is posted on YouTube, that to date, May 18th, 2021, there is no formal application of any kind submitted to this department with any signature on it from the new entity that owns the property and building.
yeah, sorry for that misunderstanding, and thanks for the record for making that clear, because it is important that everyone understands these
I,
things.
for one, will not be attending those, owner-sponsored events. I will wait for the new owner to contact Ryan and say that he has a plan. He'd like to come in for a discussion to start with, of what he'd like to do. And then we can go on to site plan review, demolition permits, whatever he wants to do. I have no idea. And we've talked about this for 6 months, and I am waiting until he comes. I don't know. I hope the village residents realize that, I'm not going to be there. I can't tell you guys not to go, but I would wait until Ryan tells us it's on the agenda. I don't know if anybody else has any other comments. I didn't want to get into a big debate about this.
I don't see any reason not to go. I already signed up. I'd like to find out as much information as I can.
Okay, as long as you're going there as a citizen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
that's good.
signed up as.
Yeah, I expect to find out what we need to find out through the official channels, right? I hope you understand my concern that the village government represented a private interest, which I think was inappropriate. And we're going to talk to the mayor and Trustee Slaby about that. But this has caused a lot of confusion out in the community. Nothing like this has ever happened before, to my knowledge. It may be quite appropriate, and I agree, it's appropriate for any investor to invite people and hold private meetings on their dime and send out information on their dime. But the fact that the village government represented this private interest, I have big concerns about.
I know there are companies out there. I've worked in election campaigns. You can obtain the addresses of every resident of the village. You can put together a postcard, and for a few pennies a piece, you could send out 1,000 postcards.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm the new
Happens
owner.
all the
I'm going to
time.
have a little thing in my gymnasium. Why don't you come and hear about what I'm proposing? And John Clark, if you go, please make it clear that you're there as a private citizen and not as a representative of the planning board. If people start asking you questions, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? I mean, I can't tell you what to do, but be careful.
I don't have any real concerns myself about going and finding out information.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm not representing the planning board.
Good.
I'm not in an official planning board meeting. But as a resident, it seems to me, to me, this is city village trustee business, and we shouldn't get involved in it.
That's absolutely agree. And that's why I think what happened was very inappropriate.
Well,
I absolutely agree with you, John.
yeah, well, you should speak as a private citizen and not as a planning board member then, if you think it's appropriate.
I have concerns as a planning board member because I believe this has circumvented the planning board process. And that's my opinion. That's my opinion, John, as a planning board member, and I will voice that opinion.
Well, like I said, I don't think it's
Okay,
planning board business until it becomes a planning board
The
application.
only reason why
fine.
I felt somebody would, if he wants to do something that perhaps is going to require some code changes or some other things that are not in the code, and if it wants to get some public support behind it. But I have no, I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know what it is until an official application is submitted. And I've said this week after week for the past 6 months. I'm waiting for a plan to be sold, and then we wanted to come to the planning board. We had several informal meetings with several prospective owners. We talked about half a dozen houses. We talked about senior housing or artist housing or a lot of other things that could be done in the building if they kept the building. But nothing was formal. It was all discussion. And I'll wait to hear what the new owner wants to do. And then we can talk about it as we always do, starting at the planning board with a discussion and moving forward. If John, you want to go and hear what he has to say, that's fine. I'll hear what he has to say when he comes to the planning board. Anybody else have any other comments? Okay. Second thing is, Elias contacted me about a prospective board member. I had a nice conversation with her, and I asked her to tune in tonight. And I guess it'll be up to the village board to, evaluate her and decide if they're going to recommend her to be appointed to the planning board. And we'll see what happens with that. And I ran into Melody Moore, who's on the town planning board, good friend because we're both working for various historical societies. And she said that there needs to be communication between the town and the village. And she and Michael Trimble wanted to talk to me about how, maybe quarterly we could get together for coffee and talk about what's happening in the village and what's happening in the town. Like what was happening with Brogan Center. I said, I don't know yet. And she said, do you know that there's a proposal to build a large hotel on 9G, which could affect parking and traffic in the village? I said, I was not aware of that. And she was exactly. So she's going to talk to Michael and get back to me. And I wanted to pick somebody else to be as a second. And I guess Michael and I do the pre-meetings with Ryan before each meeting to go over the plans. And she has worked with Jeff, who volunteers at the Dutchess County Historical Society and knows Melanie well, as well as Bill Jeffway, who's the head of the Dutchess County Historical Society. So I said, well, I've talked to Jeff that he and I could meet with you and Michael Trimble over coffee every few months and fill them in on what's happening in the village, fill them in what's happening in the town, and have some communication to bring to our attention if there's some potential issues. So I thought it was a good idea. I'm waiting here for Melanie and Michael Trimble, because we've only get together when there's a crisis like the Thompson Mazzarella Park, where it was in 2 jurisdictions, and we had to have joint planning board meetings of all 12 of us to vote on, I think with the park, because I had to make a motion to approve the upper part of the road, and they had to make a motion to approve the lower part of the road, because you can't make laws for other jurisdictions. So that's the only time we get together is when we have cross-jurisdictional issues. But I thought this would be good, that we could figure out what's happening. And certainly I could bring it back to the planning board and tell them what's happening in the town that might affect some of the stuff that we do. Because we are all residents of Rhinebeck, as well as being village residents. So it's a good idea. So those are my comments. And we had minutes. Did people look at the minutes of March 2nd, 2021? I think Michael made some comments, Ryan said.
I had a couple, just 2 small ones. First of all, my name has E on the end, so that should be part of the record. On the bottom of page 2, it said that I said that chain link fence was not prohibited. And in fact, it is prohibited in the historic district. So just take out the word not. The condition is right, but in the text, it says not prohibited as opposed to prohibited. And then on the bottom of page 5, there was a reference to a CEO. I think that meant ZEO.
She had a question on page 1 about applicant representative was present, Marilyn ? Manager of the store. Did you get the information, Ryan? Did you find who the Marilyn was? I guess he's still writing stuff down. Mr. Dowden, are you with us?
Yes, I'm sorry. It was muted on the other part. I'll have to check with Chrissy about those minutes, and also I believe Marilyn was the owner, or they worked. I believe this was for Zephyr.
Yes.
Yes. So I will check. I believe she's part of owner or she's the manager of the store that she was there presenting on behalf of the owner of Zephyr.
So do we have enough corrections that we could approve these as amended, or you want to wait till the next meeting?
That is up to you and the board.
I'll make a motion to approve as amended.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor? We don't need a roll call vote for that.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else that anyone has to talk about?
Oh, just, Mr. Chairman, just one more thing. Question for Ryan. We have you may be aware that we have a new, a very recently rehabilitated village website.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa Bertozzi and people worked on that, and I think it's fantastic. It's so much easier to get the information and to share information. The whole intent was to be transparent and you know,
Yes,
all that stuff.
they did a great job.
And I actually helped Vanessa do some beta testing on the site before it was released, and we talked about the real challenge is keeping the data on the site up to date and keeping stale data away. And I noticed by looking at the site that the minutes haven't been updated at the site since November 3rd of the planning board.
So I can address that a little bit, Jeff.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am not I guess you could call the architect or the administrator of our website. It's the village clerk, Martina McClinton.
Okay.
And probably we can address that. I don't know how much of the sort of minutes can be actually viewable on the web page itself. All of our minutes are posted on eCode 360, which the village pays for. That is a very much larger database that can hold a lot more files than just a simple web page.
Okay.
So the majority of minutes for most years are on eCode 360.
Okay,
So,
I thought, I might be wrong, but I thought that there was going to be some integration in the website to that database, but and I also
possibly
noticed
the link was left out, Jeff. I don't know.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I think it's a terrific site. I would be happy for the planning board to work with Vanessa or anybody to ensure that the stuff stays updated. I noticed that it looks to me like the videos haven't been posted on YouTube since January 19th.
Probably on the website, but if you go to our specific YouTube page for the planning board,
Yes, yeah.
it should be all the way up to April 20th.
Okay. Okay.
I know the May one I had
right.
uploaded and it hadn't finished when I uploaded it. So
Well, to cut to the chase then, is there anything I could do to help?
I think you're asking the wrong person, Jeff. I think the best person to reach out to would probably be Martina, who's
I'll do that.
Clerk.
Okay.
And probably
Enough
you would
said.
want to CC Lydia on that, being that she's the liaison.
Okay.
We never had videos before, and we need to think about the future. And I know tomorrow the governor's opening up the state. I do not know when we'll be having in-public planning board meetings again, maybe in the fall if we don't have a surge, because when the cold weather comes, I don't know. But I'm thinking about, you know, how to do this, that we could have live and Zoom. We're doing this on the Historical Society Zoom meetings for a year now. And it's wonderful that we have retired Rhinebeck people who moved to California, who moved to Florida, and they can participate in the Historical Society programs from afar. And it would be great if we could think of a way to do that for the planning board, for the Historical Society, for the village board meetings, for everybody to have the meetings in person, yet let people who are afraid to come because they're still afraid of the virus, or it's 5 degrees and snowing, and I'm not going to come over there, go out in my car, but I could watch it live at home. So I'm sure that the mayor's thinking about how to do this. But I have to talk, someone said one of their churches is doing that, to be able to do live and in Zoom. A lot of our churches broadcast as well, Sunday services, try to keep it going live in Zoom. I don't think it's really a brain teaser to try to figure out how to do this. But whenever we go public, and I don't know when we'll be back in Village Hall again, I want to think of a way that we can broadcast on Zoom as well as have it live, and that's something to think about.
So, Chairman, now that you brought up meetings and that the governor has opened up things, I wanted to ask, and that things are opening up gradually now that everyone's getting vaccinated. Would the planning board continue with the schedule, or would there be the summer schedule?
Well, yeah, that's another thing. I forgot to mention. Thank you, Ryan. That usually we meet once in July and once in August. We haven't talked about that because this is kind of easy, and if people are on vacation or people are not even here, they can sign in. We're having a Historical Society board meeting tomorrow, and one of our members is seeing their kids in California and said, I'll sign on tomorrow at 3:00 New York time and participate in the meeting while I'm visiting my daughter. So it's really, technology is a friend at this point, and I want to think of a way to keep going. I don't know when we'll be having meetings, fit all those people. If there's a hearing on Mirabeau, say in the fall or something, it could be a lot of people coming. I said to Steve Cook, I don't know when I can have 50 people in the local history room at the Star Library sitting shoulder to shoulder. When is that going to happen? When will people feel comfortable? And just like village board meetings or planning board meetings, there are people who feel comfortable, people who won't feel comfortable, which is why Lydia and the mayor moved forward with having Route 9, on Market Street closed one lane to have the outside tables, because people will still not feel comfortable this summer eating inside, and you want to help the restaurants. So
it's up to the board if you guys want to discuss this tonight, or if you want to start the discussion over email. That's totally up to you guys.
I guess we have to explore it. We can talk to the mayor and figure what his thinking is, or whether one of his technical support people. I thought we could have, if I'm filming a program at the library and they're running a PowerPoint, they could run the PowerPoint from a laptop, connect it to the projector, and sign on to Zoom at the same time. And maybe that's, I'm sure it's not brain surgery, and we'll figure out a way to do this. But I want it to happen for this group too, so we can have people, participating.
Okay, so I'll remind you guys in the June meeting.
Talk about the summer schedule.
About the summer schedule.
Because
We'll bring
things
it back
usually
up.
get very light, and I don't like to have public hearings in July or August because not a lot of people are around, and it's not fair, so we try not to do that. So we usually pick, looking at when the last meeting in June is, when the first meeting in September is, and split the difference and figure whether it's the second or third meeting, and we don't even, if we're on Zoom, we don't even conflict with the village board. It used to be, well, we can't have a meeting on the second Tuesday, or, in September in the month, because we can't have the room. And now we have the whole world. So that wouldn't even apply. So we will talk about that and see.
For the record, the third meeting in June is June 15th.
That's in the middle of the month. That's okay. And we have something in the middle of August that would provide a gap, middle of July, middle of August. I'll look at the calendar and we can talk about it next time. I know some of you may be on vacation in July and August. You have to worry about having a quorum. Have at least 3 of us here.
Or if someone would like to join from wherever they're vacationing from,
we can do that now.
We can participate in that capacity. I don't know, if that's, that could be the horse pill to swallow, but that would be up to that particular board member.
We had a meeting, there was a village board meeting a year or a year and a half ago, where Rick Lewitt was on vacation somewhere, and they rigged it up. So he
was in Martha's Vineyard, yes.
When Martha came in on a big screen, and there was Rick on the big screen, and everybody else was in Village
Correct.
Hall. So this is not hard. And I want to do it for this and the Historical Society so that we can keep this going and open up our meetings to more of the public, make it easiest as possible for them to participate.
So it looks like our liaison unmuted herself and put her camera on. Lydia,
Oh,
do you want input?
nope.
No?
I was just going to share with David that the village board is literally thinking through the same set of questions. So, you know, we should get together and think about them together, because we
Yeah.
also like the advantages of both. But, you know, having a public hearing in person is super important as well. So,
Yes, it is.
you know.
But,
And then-
but if someone's afraid of the virus, they could still come in and ask questions and make comments if we have a dual system running, which would be great. It's great. As I said, we had 4 former Rhinebeck people who retired to California and Florida who participated in our meeting last week live, and it was wonderful. You know.
Also, Chairman, I'm looking at the participants of the meeting. I just noticed now, and I apologize for not speaking up earlier. I believe the potential applicant is present.
Well, I don't know if she wanted to say anything. We just want to wait and see.
I don't know if she wants the spotlight on her right now or.
Oh,
Are
she
you
turned
talking
on her
about me?
microphone.
Hi.
Hi, so she's not camera shy.
Hello, I'm Suzanne Holzberg. I don't know if you wanted me to say anything beyond that. I'm looking into getting the training that I know is required. I got an email from the person at the Department of State today. She sent me some links to various webinars. So.
Well, and I know, Jeff, didn't you just take one that you thought was
did.
super interesting? Yeah.
I did,
Yeah.
Suzanne. Ryan had sent out some links to some training that was conducted by the state and the county. The training that I went to was basically an introduction to planning board, processes, which served for newbies and a good and it was outstanding.
So that wasn't through the Department of State?
It was
through the Department of
through-
State.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, the
Yes.
Department of Planning. I think it's what do they call themselves? The Planning Federation or the Federation of Planning. You know, they have those.
Yeah.
They have names with that jingle, or it comes with a tune or something like that.
And I think they have some online classes you can take as well. I sent Suzanne the sexual harassment link. Did you all got that link? We're not doing it at Village Hall like we did last time with Pat. You got to sign up for this class. I don't know what's new every year in sexual harassment, but we have to take the class. And Ryan sent the announcement, and I signed up. I think it was June 23rd at 10 o'clock in the morning. So you have to sit at your computer and watch it. You registered as taking the class and let Ryan know you took it, because it's required that we participate in that. So I sent Suzanne a link for that.
For Suzanne's information, thanks for reminding me, Ryan. The name of it is, then you can kind of, the Dutchess County Planning Federation.
Right.
Okay.
That's the county one, and then
Yes.
I believe the New York State one is the Department of Planning and Zoning, possibly, or the Department of Planning and Building
Local-
Standards. I think.
It's the NYS, New York State, DOS, Department of State Local Government Training Program.
I missed, after you said DOS, what was the
Right.
rest of it?
Yeah, NYS DOS Local Government Training Program.
Okay.
And there are some online classes that you can take as well. And this is nice, because we used to have to go at night, drive down to Millbrook to the Cornell Cooperative Extension, where they would have classes, and like from 4 to 8, and they give break for a sandwich and cookies at 6 o'clock. But it was to driving down there at night and coming back. And so we also had something which we tried before COVID, and that was Michael Trimble. I spoke with him. We organized some classes in town hall where they would have a speaker come in with common problems. And we had both planning boards and zoning boards come to right here and have a speaker come into town hall and give a presentation to all 4 boards. And that was convenient too, but of course, not for the last year and a half. So we tried that once a year, and I was going to get back to talk to Michael about that once things open up again, because there are many things that we have in common between the two planning boards and two zoning boards, having someone come in and speak. So that's a convenient way of doing it too. You don't have to go anywhere. But there's a lot online. I don't think that online is going anywhere anymore. I think that a lot of these things are going to be online. You know, they don't have to, they were having a speaker, a planner, come to 20 different municipalities and give a lecture to each board. And now they can do it online. It saves a lot of money, saves a lot of traveling. And it makes it easier for people to take the classes.
That way.
Zoom has changed everything and it's not going back. Anybody else have any questions or comments, anything to say? Michael had a problem with Livingston Street. We're going to refer that to Ryan.
13 Livingston, I walked by that today. It's a historic district, and those are the people that I think were on Locust Grove, and they were buying this and renovating it, and it's doing a nice job, but they've put this, I call it the crow's neck patio on the front roof of the front porch. There's a roof to the first floor. Now on the second floor, they removed the window, put in a door, and it's a little deck that's visible from the street, and it's got metal wire fencing around it, and it's like, there's no way we would approve that.
No,
We would have to find the original approval resolution and the original plans
and send the zoning
and
enforcement officer out to look.
send a letter from the zoning enforcement officer, and they still have an open building permit. So, I mean, in certain respects, they are within the parameters of the law.
I don't
So,
think we approve that, though, you know,
uh,
not on what they were allowed to do.
well, a lot of things have happened in 3 years, David, 2 or
I
3
know.
years. So, you know, we all claim to have memories like elephants, but, you know, just sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Well, if you can look that up for us, we would appreciate it.
I sure will.
Street. And as far as the violations for the sidewalks, you know, pruning stuff, the blue house across from Town Hall, that hedge makes the street, Michael and I have walked down there, it's totally impassable. We've sent out a letter to the owner, I guess, but the owner was in the Poughkeepsie Journal last week. Dr. Kane passed away. So I don't know who's handling it.
We don't know the official status, David, about that. What I can say is there is a letter from the zoning enforcement officer. It is signed and it will be going out in the mail tomorrow, and there are instructions on how they need to respond.
I'm just concerned
how
about
long.
it. It seems to me to be relatively urgent, because that is the main path on East Market Street that people take to the farmer's market. And the sidewalk is impassable. You have to have 1 foot on the bluestone and 1 foot in the mud or walk in the street. And it's a dangerous situation, needs to be rectified quickly.
This is true. However, we do have a process
I
in
understand.
code, and they have 5 days to correct the issue. If they do not correct the issue in 5 days, the village DPW is sent out, and the cost of the work and labor is leaned against the homeowner's taxes.
Okay, because that needs to be done quickly. It's a dangerous situation. Okay.
Yeah, we're set to go. The DPW has been informed of both that house as well as the one on Livingston 17, I think. That has a similar hedge situation going on. But we have to wait 5 days.
So hopefully they are responsible and respond to the letter
Well, if the
professionally
letter went
and
to the
accurately, and we'll go from there.
went to Yoni, you're not going to get a response. But okay, if you can trim it in 5 days after the letter, then that's great. Because
We all represent the village of Rhinebeck here, David. We all have to have a smile on our face. Come on.
Thank you, Ryan. Well, no, I don't want anybody. It's a danger. You know, people coming down with strollers and kids and walking dogs, and It's a main route on East Market Street, so.
Yes, it is.
Very urgent. Good. Anybody have anything else to say? If not, we can have a motion to adjourn. And we'll meet in beginning of June.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second? Jeff seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See you in a couple of weeks. Everybody stay safe.
Thank you. Stay
Aye.
safe.